Yes, you're like the king of AUS, right? And then you have the rest of us.
I'm just a team member. That's all. That's all. This is a team member with a title.
Fair enough, fair enough. Well, Phil, listen, this is a big day here. Weather not so great, but it's football weather, right? What does this mean to the AUS? I mean, this is what I mean by that is this is a culmination to this point, and then of course the UTEC Bowl coming up. But this is a very big day here. What do you think so far?
Oh, it's fantastic. I mean, it's been an interesting year for sure, and you know, it's great to have a season where we really don't have a defined team that's going to come in and possibly own a championship. This is right down to the wire. 10-10 coming out, out of the half, and I think it's going to be a battle all the way through, right to the final whistle. And you can't ask for better than that. It's a great crowd, and it's great to have a team that like Mount A that hasn't been here for quite a while. So I think the excitement is building towards the UTEC Bowl, and obviously this is the road to the UTEC Bowl. And regardless of who wins, we're going to be playing at their home. So if St. Mary's wins today, we'll be back here at Huskies Stadium next week for the UTEC Bowl. And if Mount A wins, we're going to McCauley Field. And that's something that hasn't happened since 1987 or 88?
97, I believe.
97. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So it's been quite a while. So we're excited about that. And I think it's just going to be great for fans.
Absolutely. Let's talk a little bit about what Pierre Arsenault is doing in that small town. And then we'll talk a little bit about St. Mary's here. But Pierre Arsenault is developing a great culture. You're in contact with all the ADs, obviously. He's doing a heck of a job down there, isn't he? Absolutely.
I mean, Pierre is a guy that gets it. He understands what needs to get done and be done to excel and and strive for excellence. And he's brought a lot to the table since joining Mount A. And they got a great president, Robert Campbell, who provides a lot of support for the programs there. Loves the student athletes, and in fact, has dinners at his house for the student athletes on a regular basis. So it's all working. Ron Byrne, the VP, who Pierre reports to, supports the programs, all the programs, loves football. I just think that they're doing a lot of things right at Mount A. So that's starting to see the benefits of that for sure.
Absolutely. And what can you say about the program here at St. Mary's year after year? They're a top-notch team, and they've gone through a couple of hiccups here and there, but hey, Doc's doing a great job, and he's got a solid team behind him too.
Oh, there's no question about that. I mean, like I said, not just around a table with athletic directors, but with the presidents. They're our board. They're the people that I report to, and I can tell you that every president, including Dr. Dodds and Robert Campbell, are just, they're there for the right reasons. They want to make sure that athletics are healthy and strong, and that their student athletes are getting the best programs they can possibly get, and we've seen that for a very long time in all of our programs, and all of our universities. It's exciting.
Absolutely. Phil Curry, thank you very much. I know you're up here because of the body heat that's happening up here, but thank you very much, Phil. Enjoy the rest of the game. Back to you guys. But here we go, squib kick by the St. Mary's Huskies, picked up by the Mounties. Probably 41-yard line, maybe the 40-yard line. So a little bit of tricky here by the St. Mary's Huskies to get the second half underway. So just a quick recap here. 10-10 is the score here at Husky Stadium. Travel cuts came up at halftime, and they gave away a trip for two all the way to Cuba. So that happened at halftime. We didn't quite pick that up, and I just spoke with Phil Curry, the director of the AUS here on the East Coast. And I'll tell you, Phil is a hard-working man, and he gets a lot of air miles on his credit card. So a penalty against the Huskies moves them back a little bit. It looks like about the 57-yard line for the Mounties. So there you have it, unnecessary roughness by the Huskies, which is unfortunate. So Brandon Lay now back in the shotgun. Hand off to Botel to the left side, and the Huskies are in quick and knock him to the ground. So that's going to bring up second and pretty much long here, 2nd and 10. And welcoming back to the booth is Mr. Bill McLean. Welcome back, Bill. I had a quick conversation with Phil Curry. Spoke a little bit about what Pierre Arsenault is doing down in Sackville, and of course the hard work to stay at the top of the ladder here at St. Mary's. And now Mount Allison is on a drive here on 2nd and 10.
Well, 2nd and 10 for the Mounties here with Lay over the top for Trentum. I give him about 20 yards and still moving. Put him at the 25-yard line. Well, I get stuck in a lineup, the never-ending lineup.
Well, listen, there's weird reasons why commentators and broadcasters don't make it back to the booth on time, but you were in a necessity lineup, shall we say?
Yes,
and just to prove to the comments that we were talking about the crowd, it took you a little longer than you thought it would.
It is a full house here.
Full house.
Some facilities are lacking at Husky Stadium right now.
Yeah, well, that's not going to last, according to Doc, so in a couple of years, and it is a turnover, Bill. They're talking about it right now. And you see the celebration by the Huskies fans. But in a few years, maybe in a couple of years, this wonderful historic building will no longer be here. So we might have a nice warm area to broadcast from.
Randy, Patricia, Danny supporting Ryan Zawacki in Graham, Ontario. Thank you very much to you guys. We're reaching out as we get ready to start our second half here. Thanks so much to our special halftime guest. Did Raisa talk to Coach Jeffrey?
I didn't see it, Brian, but I'm sure she might have had the chance to, but we'll find out from Brian Fisher here and see if we can. Maybe not.
Down the far sideline. A great chance for the Huskies. Looks like they have first down yardage.
So the Huskies with a big break here to start this second half off, and the referees getting together, a little conference to make sure that they get it right. Obviously a very important call, but the Huskies needed a break like this to get some momentum going here. I mean, I know it's 10 to 10, but they had a rough first half. Kind of an up and down half compared to the consistent Mounties. A very big wind coming through here. You can hear that on the microphone. There we go. Now we're going to get that protected.
Well, Reza Lalani is going to be with us with Huskies and Mounties fans here in the third quarter, so stay tuned for that. Reza Lalani coming up with Huskies and Mounties fans. So make sure you stick around. Lalani on the sidelines. 13:20 left in your third quarter. 10-10, we got a good one here, Bruin. Special thanks again to Pierre Arsenault, Dr. David Murphy.
Doc sporting the Movember. Looking pretty slick, very Tom Sellecky.
Pierre Arsenault of the Mounties, a very proud athletic director right now. He really feeling wonderful about what this Mounties team has done.
Yeah, well, it's a program that needs some direction, and Pierre has done that. And Phil Curry complimented Pierre on his job. A very proud AD for sure.
All right, Reza coming up here with Mounties fans. Meanwhile, the Huskies will be punting.
You're gonna tell me in advance what you're gonna say, so I can think.
I'm gonna say, who are you here cheering? I'm gonna say who you think they need to do to win. All right, guys, I'm here live in the stands with some fans. What's your name?
Ben Halpern.
And who are you here cheering for?
The Mounties.
And what do you want to see the Mounties do to win this game?
They just got to keep controlling the line of scrimmage, keep knowing they're the better team, and just keep it rolling. Keep finishing, finish drives, not fumble, control the ball, just finish in the end zone.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Good luck.
Wow, what a boot there by Chase. Big boomer gets the Mounties all the way out to the 50, Bill.
All right, thank you very much to Reza Lalani down there on the sidelines with some Mounties fans, Huskies fans coming up. 12 minutes left in your third quarter, 10-10. And the Mounties will take over. We have donuts up here in the press box.
Almost $1,900 in the 50-50 draw.
Some good ones. Still left. Bill McLean, Steve Betts, Brian Fisher, Reza Lalani, all with you here from the facility. We got a good one. First and 10 for the Mounties. Flea flicker. Lay! Buffo got in there. No fooling the Huskies on that play.
Botel simply coming off that right end, and Brandon Lay has to understand when Botel flips that ball back to him, he doesn't have a lot of time. Unless you've got coverage on your backside, which I don't know if that was a broken play, but I'll tell you right now, Botel came in pretty clean, but Brandon Lay has to be aware that he doesn't have a whole lot of time because that's a play that has to develop downfield. He's got to get rid of that ball or at least know that he's there and spin away from him.
Back to the original line of scrimmage.
Botel, the ball carrier.
For Botel, call this 3rd and 10, and the Mounties again will be punting. 11:21 left in your third quarter.
3rd and 11.
So good stand by the Huskies. They're going to get the ball back at a decent spot. I mean, it really depends on the punt here, of course. But I'm guessing just with the conditions today that you're going to see a pretty good return here by Marshawn Wright. A bank was not even back there for the Huskies.
Marshawn Wright, he's ever so shifty on the far side. We've seen him break some in tight quarters this season, but this time brought down at the 20-yard line.
Just good coverage by the Mounties on that play.
So the Huskies will set up 1st and 10. Jack Creighton out there again with St. Mary's. 10-10. Huskies have been beaten by this Mounties team twice this season. The Mounties have won 4 games in a row.
That was a pretty big beat too early on in the season, but I mean, it is early in the season, so what it does is just shows potential for a team, and that's exactly, I guess, what has happened at this point, because guess what? The Mounties are here.
Wrapped up right at the line of scrimmage. Mounties fans very excited about that.
Montgomery coming off the end there. You can see him shaking his head in agreement right there, saying, "Oh, me." And Montgomery's been a standout guy, not the biggest guy out there for the Mounties, but I'll tell you, this guy is a leader for sure, and he just stood up a Banqua and made the first initial hit and didn't let him go.
Akwasi Antwi from Calgary, one of the great, outstanding former Mount Allison Mounties. You Mounties fans remember him well. Antwi checking in with us from Calgary, a member of the Calgary Stampeders. Creighton. Sabarin with blockers in front, and a 1st down for St. Mary's at the 32-yard line.
What a great setup right there. It flushed out quite well, and a really good block by Riley Brown for the Huskies, 58 for the Maroon. Just a simple screenplay right in front of all the linebackers, but a nice seal block there by Brown to get the Husky free. Just checking out the bench here, looking at a couple of guys that come off the field with a couple of bumps and bruises there. That's what I was looking at as I was calling that play, but they seem to be okay, so nothing to report on that.
Hart Schultes checking in on Twitter. Thank you very much, Hart. A big one, open space. Give him 15 yards to the 50-yard line.
Well, Abanqua doing what he does, and that's slipping tackles. He had some good blocks on that end again, and they've run that play 3 or 4 times now, and that's the best one so far. And they get him up to about the 49-yard line, but Abanqua is just so slippery, and a couple of nice blocks. Brown in on that one again for the Huskies.
Sarah Beth Harrison checking in from Toronto, and Dave Sabo checking in from Ottawa. Great to hear from
there's
Dave.
A name.
Megan Murray as well. Loving Sackville.
Zabo, a Mountie pride.
Great to have Dave Zabo with us. And Hart Schultes. Thank you very much, Hart. Glad you enjoyed that interview with Pierre. And again, Pierre's just talking, when you talk to Pierre, that Mountie pride just beams off of him. It just like it resonates in his very soul.
Well, we, as broadcasters, we tend to kind of take from the crowd and the atmosphere, and it might be that we're talking a lot about it, but I got to tell you, we're in Halifax, but it's a 50-50 split right here. I really have to say, what's going on here today, you look around and you see a lot of those colors, the yellow and the maroon. I know it's not maroon, there's a better name for it. Twitter us it actually, but it's a very strange feeling because we call these games, we go to different universities and call these games, and it's 98% whoever the home team is, but not today. So, you know, if we're talking about a lot, that's why, guys. I mean, this is seriously quite a big deal for this Mounties team. You can see now the Huskies dog and the dance-off down there between the Huskies and the Mounties duck. So, I mean, it's not only a competition on the field, but off-field as well.
A dance-off between the mascots going on. Meanwhile, a 10-10 game here with 8:38 left on an absolutely unbelievably fun day here in the south end of Halifax on AUSTV.ca. Presented by Budweiser, powered by Bell Alliance, and in conjunction with Wilson's Home Heating, a proud new sponsor of the AUS. 3rd and a yard. And it looks like the Huskies have it.
Looks like Dawes just up the middle, big power surge right there by the Huskies, and they move the sticks. And Banquet coming back out on the field. A couple of big wide receivers. I haven't seen a lot of action from some of these big wide receivers that St. Mary's possesses. I mean, they most certainly can protect the ball and run. They're a lot like Joseph on the flip side for Mount A, but the Huskies have a little bit better size in those positions.
1st and 10 for St. Mary's. Creighton with a Abanqua 3 yards behind them and 2 receivers on the near side. A handoff for this shifty Abanqua from Montreal and give him about 7 yards.
And that's the play that can happen almost every time for the Huskies. That's Abanqua off the end somewhere, get the line moving, get the blocks going sideways, and then Abanqua can just wait, pick his hole and go. And I mean, that was a pretty simple 6 yards for the Huskies. And it's based on what Abanqua brings, and it's that speed and obviously being able to pick his gaps.
This is from none of your business on Twitter. That's awesome stuff. Garnet and gold is the Mounties colors. Garnet and gold.
Thanks, Emily.
Yeah. Awesome stuff. Creighton, 2nd and 4. Dropped by Muhammad. Abdallah couldn't hold on to it. And the Mounties will drop back to receive a kick. Man, oh man.
Those drops make the difference all day long. I mean, you chalk up 6 or 7 in those a game, and the opposite of that is you make that catch, and you have an opportunity for a 1st down. It could keep a rush going, or keep a set going, whatever the case might be. So those little drops, they add up, and they could be the difference in a game any day of the year.
Dave Szabo saying he may make the trip to Sackville if the Mounties win. I tell you what, there's going to be a lot of fans as we see Chase Cota as the 1st-year player. A nice boot, the highly ballyhooed 1st-year kicker. Punted to the far side. And there's the hero of the day right now, Michael Bohan, who had that fumble return for a touchdown out at the 10-yard line.
I will say this, be it in Halifax next week or be it in Mount Allison might have to rent some seating. So all the Mounties out there, if you haven't been to McCauley Field in years, well, just go look at the picture that you took with your old Polaroid. It's pretty much the same. So the seating is a bit of an issue there, but hey, that's not going to dampen the spirits. And of course, if it happens here at Husky Stadium, I think they're more than adequate to have seating, be it a little chilly on those concrete or those wooden boards.
Lay on the far side. This is going to be 2nd and 5. Here's a rare flag. We haven't had many. The Huskies have been very disciplined today, but the Mounties seem to think that is going to be a late flag on the Huskies.
Well, the penalties that they have had have been those late plays, have been the roughing. Whatever they have been, they've been unnecessary penalties, to say the least. We haven't seen a whole lot of holdings. We haven't seen a whole lot of, offsides, whatever the case might be. So that's what costs you too. Just like those drop passes, those little penalties are going to cost you at the end of the game. When you go back and look at what the yardage was, you're going to say, you know what, that shouldn't have happened, and that's probably why we lost the game. You can't be pulling that stuff at a 10-10 score.
Make sure you stick around after the game. Steve Betts will be down on the field with post-game interviews.
And that's exactly what it was, roughing the passer on the Huskies, very costly penalty. I mean, that gives Mounties tons of room here to work with.
That gives some breathing space for the Mounties of Sackville, New Brunswick. 6:45 left in your 3rd quarter. Brandon Lay, the AUS all-star quarterback, a quick little 6-yard pass. And in a year, that's another thing with the Mounties, in a year where Acadia, St. FX, and St. Mary's have just been juggling quarterbacks nonstop. Mount Allison was that one team that it's Brandon Lay, he's our guy, we're moving forward with him.
Well, Lay's a second-year guy out of BC, very tall, and one thing that he brings to this team is athleticism. He's a mobile quarterback, and we've seen that earlier on in the game. But yeah, he has been stuck with by Coach Kelly, and I think it's proven to be the right decision. I mean, some of the other teams didn't exactly do that. We saw St. Avex flip-flop on their quarterbacks. Rosong started, Creighton comes in. But Brandon Lay was chosen, didn't get injured, and he's been in there ever since. And I think every game he got better. He knew it was the plays better, and he's able to work the team better and get them downfield. And it's proven it seems to be the right chemistry or the right formula for Coach.
Marvin Golding gets in on that sack, so 3rd and 5 for the Mounties. Back here to punt is McLean. He gets into one. A great year for kickers as well. It's really the year of the running back and the kickers in AUS football. Marshawn Wright brought down at the 45-yard line. Go ahead.
Marshawn Wright not doing exactly what he should be doing, and that's catching the ball and getting his feet moving. He had this whole left side to come to. We got a really good vantage point. Now, Bank was a little bit different runner. He's not in a Bankwa. He has to get his feet moving from the get-go, get every yard that he can. He got hit fairly early in that, might have got 6 yards. He's not a Marvin Abankwa. You got to get the feet moving. You're not as slippery as number 4.
5:45 left in your third quarter as we say hello to Lou Pell, the guinea pig. Thanks for checking with us, cheering on the Mounties, and Leanne Watson all the way in Washington, D.C., cheering for Mount Allison. Mike Dawes, a 3-yard carry, and wrapped up right away there by Dylan Gosser.
Yeah, Matt McGee came in too. Excuse me, you're absolutely right. And Jacob LeBlanc with a big hit too on Dawes. Wow, what a big hit that was. You might not have caught it there. And Quinn Everett coming off the field, a big part of that D-line. That was a big smash by LeBlanc and Dawes.
Haley Schmeiko checking in again. On the email, Creighton, 2nd and 7. Airs one out. And no luck for Abdullah on the far side.
Well, there's another pass, Bill, another drop pass here. Jack Creighton putting that ball right on the money. Unfortunately, not taken in by the Huskies receiver. And again, we see the Huskies coming off the field because of a drop pass.
Kathy LaRock. Thank you very much, Kathy. You are homesick and watching this. Great to hear from you. Beth Hickey, Matthew Gauthier, huge Mount A fans tuned in from the Hyatt Magnificent Mile. Great stuff. Thank you very much, Matthew Gauthier and Hickey, Beth Hickey. 4:40 left in your third quarter. Chase Codes. Nice snap, gets it away. And once again, Bohan. Nice tackle on the far side on special teams by Lucas Cristovio.
Ball went nowhere to go. Nice coverage there by the Huskies. Just simply trapping him. They put 4 guys wide on him. He's not going to go anywhere.
Great stuff here. This is Doc Jocelyn. He's been checking in with us all day. Thank you very much to the doctor. A great CIS football enthusiast. Right now in Ontario, Western leading Queens 25-5. That's an update from your Ontario game.
And of course, next week, UTEC will be hosted by an Atlantic team against a Quebec team. So I would assume that those games are being played today. It'd be nice to hear what's going on there.
Well, interesting that, I remember we came to do a game here 8 weeks ago in the second week of the season. Laval was going down to Acadia to play at Acadia. And we came here to do a soccer game, and Laval was practicing here at Husky Stadium. So I was thinking about that today as I was driving down from St. John, New Brunswick. I wonder if Glenn Constantine was trying to get his guys used to Husky Stadium with maybe a quick practice.
Well, who knows? I mean, the trip's not too far down to Wolfville, but it could just been field situation too. Maybe Acadia said no. I'm not sure why or how they would get field time here, but I mean, it is open season. If you can get the field here, you can get the field here. So obviously, maybe that's a foreshadow, but nonetheless, I don't know that being the case. They've been here before a million times. And what a big kick that one was.
Carry on, Marshawn Wright. Oh, and he does this so well. Spins and into open space. Gets a block. Marshawn Wright still with it and brought down by the punter McLean at the 50.
Well, Marshawn Wright playing a little bit of cat and mouse right there. He got everybody going right, put on the brakes, and made an intentional move to come to this left side. And once again, he did something that he didn't do in this earlier punt, and that was look to the left side and get his feet moving. And it got him 35 yards return. So Marshawn Wright picking up some advice from somebody, and it worked for him.
Robert Wilkin from Quispamsis, New Brunswick. Great to hear from you, Robert. They're just on the outskirts of beautiful St. John. Jameek Murray. Great to hear from Jameek. Taylor and Ray Hartman as well, cheering on the Huskies. 1st and 10 at the 50 for Creighton. Fakes a handoff to Dawes and rolls a little shuffle pass that comes up short. That is not Jack Creighton's forte.
Yeah, that wasn't exactly a slick play, and I can tell you right now that that was probably a broken play. Creighton went right to Coach Marchese and shook his head as if to say someone wasn't in the right position. So,
from Oakville, John Pizza.
St. Mary's Huskies. And how do you think they're going to win this game?
Tough defense and just a little bit of offense.
And is there anyone in particular here that you're supporting?
Number 7, Lenga.
Perfect. Thank you. Good luck.
All right, thank you very much, Reza Lalani, with the Huskies fan, and we're right back to the action here.
First down for the Huskies on a carry by Dawes.
Waterford, Ontario. This is Blaine Shell cheering on the Huskies. Great to hear from you guys, of course. Member of that, their daughter, a member of the women's Huskies hockey team, who are looking very good this season. They could easily maybe win an AUS championship.
Bill, you can probably get a job with Christmas Daddies the way we're getting all these emails.
Creighton, look at the dexterity now for Jack.
Yeah, plan play to get Creighton on the move, maybe to get his blood flowing a little bit here and get his competitiveness going as he gets a tap on the butt from McGee, but a planned bootleg for Creighton. He wasn't passing on that one for sure because he was headed to the sideline in a hurry. He didn't want to get hit.
Speaking of hockey players, Courtney Young cheering on from Wester, and the former Mount Allison Mountie women's hockey player. Great to have Courtney checking in. Thank you. Watching from Wester, cheering on her Mounties. She won, I think the Mounties won an AUS championship 2 years ago in women's hockey. Up back brought down, and 2nd and 9.
Well, unfortunately, the Huskies didn't move the white line of the Mounties. And pretty simply, Quinn Everett gets a hold of a banker and drops him.
Ben Sturr checking in from Toronto. Robert Martins, thank you very much, Robert. Cheering on Jay Lange. 2nd and 8 here for the Huskies. We have 1:40 left in this third quarter. It's still 10-10. Drama from the stadium. The waning days of the Old Girl, one of the great facilities in Atlantic Canada. Oh, a little stumble on the handoff, and Jack Creighton confused as to what happened there. He thought Sabrin was a little mixed up.
Well, Jack Creighton putting his hands in the air in frustration, but you can't do that as a leader. You just got to pat your buddy on the head and say, look, man, we messed up a little bit, as Sabrin claps his hand together as if to say, yeah, my bad on that one. But nonetheless, just a crisscross there by Sabrin and Creighton, and they'll have to chit-chat about that one. Well, you know what, though? Sabrin nearly fumbled that ball, too, so good job by Sabrin to hold on to it and make sure that he got to the ground with it.
NJ Calderhead, thank you very much for checking in. No problem, NJ. 1 minute left in your third quarter. Chase Codes again from his 50. Bohan, he's got the big play for the Mounties, that fumble return for a touchdown off of Mike Dawes. But brought down here at the 10, and now the Mounties, I mean, it's a 10-10 game, but now the Mounties in danger. They got to move the ball, or they might have to give up 2 points.
Well, we've seen a couple of 3-and-outs for the Huskies, a couple of drop passes. That can't happen for the Mounties right now. If they want to get some points on the board and maybe get a field goal or, or better, But the problem right now is they're pretty deep in their own zone at about the 10-yard line. So there's twofold problems right here for the Mounties.
Handoff for Jordan Botel, the workhorse. Oh, Botel splits it! Still on his feet across the 35, the 40. Botel into open space and bring him down at the 53. Jordan Botel.
So all Botel does is he sees a hole, he goes through it. But I got to tell you, the hole the size that he went through was huge. Botel gets out in that linebacker zone, and they were all covered by white jerseys. A planned play by the Mounties, no doubt in my mind. Botel makes some great moves at about the 35-yard line. He's able to get out to the 54-yard line, and he knew he had no gas left because he had to make quite a few cuts, and he goes down protecting the ball.
Chance of MVP for Jordan Botel as he goes for 43 yards. And the Mounties in business across midfield.
Well, I was talking about the field position for the Mounties, and that was a troubled situation for them. Well, Botel just negated all that. But you know what? Give all the credit to his teammates, because everywhere you looked in that play, there was a white jersey matched up with a Husky.
Brought down in the backfield is Botel. Lalonde, of course.
Yeah, that was just a missed assignment on the right side. It was a pretty straightforward run by Botel, but Lalonde came in pretty scot-free.
The 2013 Loney Bowl brought to you by AUSTV.ca, presented by Budweiser, powered by Bell Alliant. We're about to go down to Raisin Laney here at the end of the quarter. Down to the 5-yard line, Kayon Marchand right. Juki. And this time wrapped up. Mounties not confused at all. All right, we're about ready to go down to Raisin Laney.
I'm now here with Mr. Blake Smith from Wilson's Home Heating. Thank you so much for joining us. How are you enjoying the game so far?
It's a fantastic game, really tight game, and that's what you want in football.
Absolutely. So now you have a big partnership with the AUS. Why is it important to you?
Well, we love to give back to the communities that we serve, and what better way than to give back to student athletes, especially locally. We've been here in Nova Scotia for over 100 years, and we want to continue to give back to communities and serve our communities well.
And tell us about the Wilson Home Heating warm-up zone.
So today in the warm-up zone, we had some propane patio heaters for people to get the fans to get nice and warm during the game. We also had some hot chocolate we were serving to also the fans today to make sure to keep warm, just like we do with our customers every day.
Perfect. So as a current student athlete, we know that corporate sponsorship is really important. So on behalf of all of the AUS student athletes, I just want to say thank you very much. Before I let you go, who do you think is going to win this game?
Ooh, I can't say. It's been a really tight game, and I'm really excited to see good football, and this is how it's been, so it's great. Can't complain.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
All right, awesome stuff. Thank you very much. Raisin Laney, Wilson's Home Heating, an outstanding new sponsor with Atlantic University Sport and AUSTV.ca. Great stuff down there on the sideline with Raisin. You can follow Raisin on Twitter, all one word, Raisin Laney. She is a fifth-year senior for the defending champion Dalhousie Tigers women's volleyball. You can check them out later today on AUS TV when they play the Cape Breton Capers. All right, Steve Betts, here we go. Loney Bowl, fourth quarter. Huskies at their 10-yard line, and the immediate concern for St. Mary's is to try to get a first down.
Well, St. Mary's pinned in just like Mount Allison was a moment ago, so they need a big play. And even if you don't get a big play, you just have to get the ball out of your own zone. You can't be giving up 2 points here at all, or a single point, whatever the case might be. So the Huskies need a big play. Hey, run a couple of slants, run Dawes a couple of times. You can get out of this quite simply. But this is a big point, big turning point here for the Mount Allison Mounties, because if they can get decent field position, hey, the way this game is going, a field goal might win it.
Matt Kinney checking in. Thank you very much, Matt, talking about this Loney Pride. And Miller, thank you very much, Miller, checking in as well. 14:44 left in your third quarter, or your fourth quarter. 12-7 right now. Laval beating Montreal.
So Jordan Botel, to go over some stats right now. Bill, rushing Jordan Botel, netting 110 yards at this point, averaging about 5.2 yards a carry. Brandon Lay, of course, with a couple of rushes as well. Lay, 152 yards passing today. Looks like he's 10 for 15. Of course, his longest is 39 yards. On the flip side of that, Melvin Abankwa, the man that should have the ball in some pretty special situations, netting about 53 yards rushing, and Michael Dawes as well, 52. So those two guys leading for the Huskies. And Jack Creighton, 7 for 11, 108 yards for Creighton.
Jeremy Long checking in. Thank you very much, Jeremy cheering on his former teammates. 2nd and 8 for St. Mary's. Creighton with Mike Dawes to his left-hand side, Abankwa and 2 receivers to his right. A pivotal 2nd down here for Huskies at the 22. Creighton, 2-step drop and across the middle, incomplete. And now Chase Codes and the punting group will come out.
Jordan Wallace just dropping that ball. I'm not sure if it was tipped, as Wallace and Creighton are talking right now, and Wallace, just from his indication, I think the ball might have been tipped by somebody maybe on the line. But nonetheless, the bad situation here for the Huskies. Chase Codes is going to have to get them good field position here with a good boot.
Riley Brown's grandparents checking in from Penticton, BC. Great to hear from you guys. And Kim Thompson, thank you, Kim. Codes back to punt again at his 5-yard line. He has been busy. 13:35 left in your 4th quarter. The wind is minimal. Temperature is probably about 5 or 6 degrees. There is Codes. Off the side of his foot a little bit. It's been a tough day for Chase. No yards will be thrown as Bohan makes a daring catch at midfield.
Marshawn Wright making contact with the punt returner, Bowen. So we're going to see if there's going to be more to this than just the no yards. Marshawn Wright not trying to hit him, avoided him as best he could, but unfortunately he did make contact with him. So we're going to see what the referee's judgment was on that one.
Mike?
I'm sorry, I was just going to say Brandon Lay, and there's a signal there. There's no yards, and we're going to see if there's another signal. That's pretty much it. But nonetheless, the ball's coming up 15 yards, so they did make the call on Marshawn Wright. So a 15-yard penalty gets them up to the 38-yard line, Bill, and not exactly what the Huskies needed at this point.
A huge play for the Mounties. Maybe a turning point. 13-14 left in the 4th quarter. Brandon Lay with Jordan Botel right behind him. Lay hit right away off that quick pass to Kyle McLean, the punter as well. Michael and Lise watching in Dieppe. Great to hear from you, Michael and Lise, as Betsy puts on his racing hat here.
That's my newsboy. I got to get you to fashion school, son. Racing hat.
12:40 left in your 4th quarter. 2nd and 6 for the Mounties. Near side, 2 receivers, including Trenton, but they come to Joseph, but skips that pass, and that could be costly for the Mounties. They're in that tricky zone between, do you punt or do you go for a field goal?
Yeah, I'd like to see Brandon Lay throw that ball differently. I mean, there's no sense putting it at Joseph's feet. You can actually let Joseph go up and get that ball, because 9 times out of the 10, he's big and strong enough to ward off any DB from the Huskies. So why not throw that ball in a different spot so he can get to it, at least give him a chance.
All right, Kelly Jeffrey is going to go. 3rd and 6 for the Mounties at the 34. Makes the handoff. Pressure from Cornish. Avoids. Now Buffo chases, and he gets him. Chris Buffo gets Lay on the far side, and the Mounties will turn it over on downs.
Well, Brandon Lay being flushed out of the pocket, and a kind of a planned play. I don't know that he wanted to go to his weak side, but nonetheless, he ended up throwing on the good side. Sorry, on his strong side. I'm just fumbling for my words here, because guess who's down over there? It's Brandon Lay on the far side in front of the Old Dogs for the Huskies. So, yeah, Brandon had to boot it out a little bit to his weak side, and they curled it back, and of course, 2 Huskies guys in pursuit. and one of them was able to trip him up, and that's usually very hard for the lower body when you get tripped up like that. It's usually groin, hamstring, or maybe at best it's maybe just banged his knee on the way down.
Lori Watson, thank you very much, Lori, for checking in. We'll try to get our sideline camera guy to get some more Huskies for you. Bill McLean, Steve Betts, Drew Demokas, Brian Fisher, Amita Vora was with us before the game. Of course, you can check out all her recaps and analysis on CanadaFootballChat.com. And our outstanding sideline reporter, Reza Lalani, about to head out here. She's got to go get ready for the Tigers versus the Capers in women's volleyball. Lalani, the outstanding fifth-year senior for the Tigers. She's the left-handed outside hitter. Creighton from the 35. Jack moving towards the near side. Throwing. No. Incomplete on the near sideline.
Oh, great effort by Creighton. Once again, recognizing that he had to get out of that pocket. That collapsed down on him pretty good. And just a low throw. And once again, I think he was just on the run. And a bit hard to get what you want on that. But the ball tends to dip when you're on the run like that. Either that or it flutters. And he tried to strong arm it in there, unfortunately. And it was just probably about 4 yards too short.
11:52 left in this fourth quarter.
It's nice to see Creighton getting out of the pocket. He's not exactly the most mobile guy in the world. He is hard to take down when you get close to him, but that's something that the Mount Allison Mounties probably aren't expecting, so it might work for them down the road.
Three receivers on the near side for the Huskies. Mike Dawes to Creighton's right hand. Creighton across the middle. Nicely done, and that's a first down for the Huskies in the hands of Matt Simic. And, of course, Jack Creighton, I was talking to him earlier. I said, Jack, you know, you look earlier this season, I was like, Jack, you look like you're in the best shape of your career. And he said, no, I'm in the worst shape of my career. Because he thought he wasn't coming back, decided at the last moment he would, so he didn't train throughout the offseason. So apparently this is a Jack Creighton who's in the worst career, or in the worst shape of his career.
Well, I mean, there you go, Bill. He didn't know he was coming back, and that just, you know, kind of proves the point that Coach Marchese has a quarterback issue, or had one, at the start of the season. I mean, Creighton not being ready for the season, and you got Rosong trying to step in and run the ropes. You know, it was a tough go. So good on Coach Marchese to get the Huskies here in what was, you know, questionably one of the hardest years for them at the QB position.
Alex Chisholm, thank you very much. Alex checking in. Brian Harriman, thank you so much. And Michelle Popowich. And Luke as well, sending a shout out to Mitchell Wallace. All on Twitter.
As a banquet takes a knee here, and I don't think it's because someone took a timeout. That was a banquet on the carry. Listen, we're going to have to hire somebody for that Twitter feed. Just get them on the side. It's going to take you hours to reply to all those, because I replied to all mine last week, so I expect you to do the same.
Man, oh man, there is nothing like Loney Bowl Saturday. It is just, when you, on this early morning day in November, if you don't wake up with some jitters and excitement for the Loney Bowl, you better check your pulse. This is about as good as it gets.
Well, here's the thing about these sports. AUS is high caliber athletes. Some of these athletes are super athletes that can probably play 2 or 3 different sports, and some of them do. But to be honest with you, they're awesome athletes, all-around athletes. And the thing about this is probably some of the best sport that you're going to find on the east coast of Canada. I mean, we talk about the hockey division all the time, but I mean, to be quite honest with you, if you have a team nearby, you've got to go check it out. Like these are usually from 18 up to 25-year-old men and women that go out and play hard. And to be honest with you, years ago, I wasn't really keen to it. Why? Because I just didn't really know about it or care about it. Well, I've changed my tune on that, and because I got caught in the vortex of coming in and watching some games. Let's go watch this game. Let's go watch that game. And I've seen basketball. I've seen volleyball, hockey. I've seen field hockey. I've seen soccer. And I got to tell you, very entertaining games. So if you haven't had the chance to check it out, now's the time.
Abakwa being carried off on the near sideline. Or not carried off, but walking off on the near sideline, sorry. And looks like he'll be okay. He'll have to sub out for a couple plays at least. Bill McLean, Steve Betts, and first down and 10 from the 42-yard line for St. Mary's. So the Huskies building, 10:55 left, far side. Dawes. And strange that there's really no reaction from the crowd on that play.
Well,
It looks like they had a first down.
Yeah, it was a flag. It was offside on the Mounties on that. And generally, it's an offside or whatever you want to call it nowadays. But 53 referee here, and we don't have their names. But he threw the flag, and it wasn't killed or anything like that. And generally, when it's the offense, they kill the play. So the Mounties are going to get a little bit deeper into their own territory, and this is very dangerous, especially with 10:50 on the clock. So this is not a good situation for the Mounties at this point.
Drew DeMocus on the sideline. Brian Fisher is your producer. His name is Steve Betts. My name is Bill McLean. Amita Vora of Canada Football Chat up here with us as well in the broadcast booth. You are watching AUSTV.ca, the webcasting source of Atlantic University sport. Every single game, whether it be regular season or exhibition or the championships, on AUSTV.ca. So make sure you bookmark it on your browser. Presented by Budweiser, powered by Bell Alliant, and with special thanks to Wilson's Home Heating.
Coach Kelly Jeffrey bringing in the big boys. Hollabo comes in, a couple of the smaller DBs out of the game because we're talking inches here. So this is a huge play right here for the Huskies and, of course, for the Mounties. So a lot of beef in there for the Mounties because they're expecting a big run.
2nd and 2, and shifty little Dawes over there on the far side, breaks it to the outside. Looks like he's got about 4 yards and a first down. So we could be looking at the pivotal drive of the game right now. It's still 10-10. There's 10:42 left, and the Huskies are at the 26, and this is easily within the range of Chase Codez, and there's no wind to speak of whatsoever.
The only thing I'll throw out there is we've seen some crazy things happen this year doing these games. We've seen block punts, we've seen block field goals, point after attempts.
Bad snaps.
Bad snaps, exactly. Snaps has been an issue, so anything could happen. And the other thing is, too, Chase Codez is a first-year guy, but you know what? He's shown that he's Johnny on the spot this year with his kicks and stuff, so you can almost say that it's an easy 3 for him.
Well, there's a Bangwa juking his way to about the 15-yard line, and there will move the chains as the first down, the shifty little Bangwa. If there's one thing about the AUS this year, you know, we talk again about his great running backs, there's been great kicking, but it's also been a year for guys at skill positions. A Bangwa, Taylor Renault, Devin Bailey, Jordan Catterall. You know, there's a lot of very talented guys at the skilled positions.
Well, special teams has been huge this year, and of course, every coach will tell you that. It doesn't matter what sport it is, and special teams has been great. And a Bangwa for the Huskies.
Turns the corner! Is it a touchdown? No. Put him down at the 1-yard line.
A Bangwa for the Huskies has been that guy. And I mean, as I said, he led in return yards this year, but of course, McLean on the flip side of that, Bowen for the Mounties, those guys are pretty dynamic as well. And we've seen some absolutely fabulous run backs, and we've seen some big plays from punt and kick returns. So it's been a crazy year on special teams. And you know what? That's really why the Mounties are here.
Make sure you stick around after the game. Steve Betts will be down there for post-game interviews with the winning team. .9:35 left. First and goal. Mike Dawes.
I think he got tripped up. No signal.
Andrew Blenko. Thank you very much, Andrew. And Stephen Drover from snowy Ottawa. Great to hear from you. Stephen says you need a play for the defense. And right now the Mounties trying to pin their tails back here. What's the score, or what's this indication of the flag on the field?
Offside Mounties.
Huskies think they have a touchdown.
Yeah, he was a keeper by Creighton. Creighton's the type of guy, he needs a couple of guys to go behind. He's not as mobile as maybe Rosong. Of course, everyone indicating that it is a touchdown, but I don't think that it is.
Waiting with bated breath for an indication. silence at the stadium. It's a touchdown. The Huskies go up 16-10.
Well, Creighton fouled 2 big bodies in on the right-hand side, and of course it was a big, huge pile-up, so that's why the referees had to have a quick discussion. And there you go. Finally, Creighton able to get them on the board, using his legs, using his big size, and followed 2 big bodies in.
So advantage Huskies. Chase Codas will come out for the point after. And that's no problem for Chase. Great email here, Greg Stewart. As we have a break, Greg Stewart watching from Uptown St. John, which is so funny.
There's an Uptown?
Well, I'm from St. John, and I was there this week doing the CCAA Nationals for soccer, and I was telling some friends that, or some visitors that, it's not downtown St. John, it's uptown St. John.
Oh, okay.
And when you come from St. John, you, no matter where you move, you always refer to every other downtown as uptown. So I'll say, well, let's go uptown.
So if you live in downtown, you're actually out in the sticks.
Yes.
I guess.
Well, anyways, Greg Stewart. Thank you very much, Greg. Checking in from uptown St. John, New Brunswick.
Well, the Huskies with an elongated meeting on the sidelines there, and I'm pretty sure Coach Marchese was saying, guys, this is it. This is our stand. There's 9 minutes left. Now's the time to stick it to these guys. I mean, obviously scoring has been at a premium today. I mean, 17-10 is not really a normal AUS or CIS football game score, so I think that's why they took that a bit of extra time there on the sideline to make sure that they stick out this 9 minutes and not let the Mounties score.
Craig and JK checking in from Paradise, Newfoundland, as we see a kickoff scooted around to the 20-yard line, picked up by the Mounties on a fortuitous bounce by the big athlete Donovan Saunders, once again an AUS All-Star. Out at the 35-yard line is Saunders. It's funny, in the AUS press conference at the start of the year, I asked Coach Jeffrey, have you ever thought about putting Donovan Saunders in double duty, making him do both sides of the ball, maybe put him at the wide receiver spot? And he's like, nope. He is a punt returner and a kickoff returner and a defensive back. But
like
man,
that's not enough?
Yeah, well, he was kicking field goals in the exhibition game as well. Donovan Saunders, one of the special athletes in the conference. Lay over the middle. Trentham, flag on the play. Trentham with space on the far side and hit and pushed back at the 48-yard line.
Well, an odd flag here on the backside of this whole play, but what a play by Brandon Lay. Man, did he ever come up there. He was on his tippy toes. He was bouncing around like it was a practice and there was no stress at all. He just came into the pocket quite calmly and threw a strike to his receiver. That's exactly what I see late in the game, and I'd say that's adrenaline at this point. He knows what's on, he knows what's on the line right now. What a nice pass by the youngster.
Huskies penalized. Here come the Mounties. 8:44 left in your fourth quarter. Steve Betts will be down on the sidelines with post-game interviews. With the winners, will the Mounties host a UTEC Bowl at Macaulay Field? Or will the Huskies send out Husky Stadium with a visit for the UTEC here in the south end of Halifax? Huskies and Mounties, the 2013 Loney Bowl on AUSTV.ca, presented by Budweiser, powered by Bell Alliant, in conjunction with Wilson Home Heating. B. McLean Sports on Twitter, AUSwebcast@gmail.com. One of the special days of the AUS season.
One of those Twitter followers send us a heater through Twitter. It's getting a little chilly up here. Wasn't near as cold as it was earlier in the game.
No.
Or excuse me, it's a lot chillier now. But I can tell you right now, we need every layer that we have here because the sun's going down.
Well, Greg Stewart from Uptown St. John. I was doing those games at Canada Games Stadium in St. John, that beautiful facility. I tell you what, this is like summer right now for me. It was freezing at Canada Games Stadium. this past week doing those soccer games.
That's the one downfall of the AUS. Once the winter season hits, there's still lots of outdoor sports. And, you know, as a team of broadcasters, we got to suck it up and do them up. But hey, we've had worse. I remember years ago, there was ice and snow banks and everything else, so we can't really complain.
Being helped off here, RJ Cornish, the outstanding veteran defensive back. Looks like he's going to be okay. As we say hello to Nicole Berry, watching in St. Catharines, Ontario, the former Mountie football student trainer, cheering on the Mounties. Well, that was one of the things I wanted to mention as we have first and 10 here, so I'll let it ride for a bit. 8:44 left in the fourth quarter. Here's Lay with Botel behind him. Fakes the handoff to Lay. Over the middle and too far for Trentham over on the far side. But I tell you what, Dave Szabo mentioned that if the Mounties host the UTEC Bowl, he might very likely make the trip to Macaulay. If the Mounties do host the UTEC Bowl next week, there are going to be Mounties fans traveling to Sackville from across the world. The hotel.
You
better book your hotel early.
The hotel. You might want to make plans to get a cab from Moncton.
Yeah.
You know, stay out in the Dieppe area along the highway.
2nd and 10. Lay escapes pressure, steps into the pocket, and then hit by Lalonde on the far side. Back to the original line of scrimmage, but a 3rd and 10 coming up now for the Mounties.
Yeah, well, Brandon Lay got hit hard, so hold your breath, Mounties fans, because he's getting up real slow. That was a big hit by Lalonde. Illegal hit. He was close to going down, but nonetheless, I mean, you can't stop yourself when you're going to make the tackle. Lay kind of slid, but you know what, Lalonde with a legal hit on him. But be happy, Brandon is running off the field. But wow, that was a big hit right there.
Just over 8 minutes left, which is an eternity in Canadian football. McLean, kick to the far side. Stays in bounds. And no yards assessed. So it looks like the Huskies are going to be set up near midfield.
Yeah, tough play. Not my favorite rule in CIS football with that no yards Canadian football, but it happens, and it's the penalty for both teams.
Josh Davies checking in from Auckland, New Zealand. Thank you very much, Josh. Cheering on the Mounties. (17-10) for St. Mary's. 7:56 left as the sun starts to set here in the south end of Halifax. Ball at the 34-yard line. Here comes Jack Creighton with a Banqua behind him. Zawacki in here now for the Huskies on the right-hand side of that offensive line. A Banqua. Nope, Creighton keeps it. And wrapped up and hit hard there by big Jacob LeBlanc. What a year he had for the Mounties.
Not really sure why he would want to do that, keep the ball in Creighton's hands. I know it's kind of a slippery prey and you're trying to fool the defense, but to be quite honest with you, there's assignments out there. Guys aren't going to let Creighton go, and they're not going to let a Banco go either. So if you're going to do that, make it play action and get the ball out of Creighton's hands. Either that or just give it to a Banco and let him run down the line and pick a hole. But on second down, going into second down, Creighton's not going to get you any yardage, not on his feet.
2nd and 12 for St. Mary's. Creighton. 3 seconds on the time clock. Gets it off. Across. Is that a catch? Nope. No luck. Simic nearly had it. The Mounties will take over with just under 7 minutes left.
Just slightly out of the reach of Simic as he's diving across to catch that ball up. Just waiting for a Conference Quebec call here. So there you go, Laval up by 1 point, 12-11 over Montreal. What a program Montreal is, right? Not even in the conference. 4 or 5 years ago, I think it was, and they come in here, and then all of a sudden they're ranked, the CIS, about 4 years into it, and now they're up against Laval Rouge with the honor to go to the UTEC Bowl. So props to the Montreal team up there for sure.
The Carabins, but it seems like at the 25-yard line here is Codes. That's a nice punt for Chase. Bohan catches at his 35, tries to come back this way and brought down by the Huskies special teams.
They had a good, nice initial hit on Bowen and a nice tackle, nice secondary tackle right there. And that was Blackman who was hurt. You can see him limping off the field in the background there. He's still hurting. I think it was his right leg that he hurt, but nonetheless, he's a gamer as he comes hobbling off the field.
Sawaki in there as well. But that's a Carabins team that they just, it seems like every single year, and when we do this game, it's Laval versus Montreal. And Montreal just cannot get over that Laval hurdle.
Wow, Laval, I mean, Laval's like a semi-pro team, there's no doubt about it. I'm a fairly big guy, and I go down to the sidelines and talk to some of them, and those guys are huge. They're in the 6'6" range, 6'7" range, and they're rolling about 300 pounds, some of those linemen, and even the receivers and the running backs are very large boys, and they're fast. So just good recruiting there, no doubt in my mind. And you want to go, you really want to go where you fit in, and of course, Coach for Laval does that. He's a very good coach. He's a player's coach.
6 minutes left. Brandon Lay, Trentham, he's got it at the 45-yard line. Lay to Trentham, give him about 30 yards on that play.
Again, no reason for the DB for St. Mary's to keep an eye on Trentham that deep. He's got to turn his head and see what Brandon Lay is doing. He had a chance with that ball, and that's exactly what Trentham did. Trentham turned around, located the ball, and made a fabulous catch. So I'm not going to take that away from him and Brandon Lay hooking up. But as a DB, you've got to make sure when you're in that 30, 40-yard line, especially at this level, you've got to turn your head because something's going on.
Lay. A man on the far side, and that's a catch again. Is it inbounds? It is. No, waved off. A huge missed opportunity for the Mounties. They had a man over there, Josh Blanchard, but couldn't hold the line.
Yeah, Blanchard got his right foot in, but his body momentum just kind of kicked him outside. He couldn't quite get that second foot down, and of course the rules are you got to get both feet in.
That's a huge disappointment for the Mounties and their fans. 2nd and 10 now for the 45. Lay to his right. Huskies pressure, and they bring down Lay. Golding was in there. Buffo. Jubenville, of course.
Well, take your pick. Just a covered sack right there. Brandon Lay tried to step up, but when he stepped up, there was nobody to give the ball to. You know, it would have been nice that he had somebody maybe 5 yards out, maybe a running back or something, who would come back to the ball. But no such luck for Brandon. And good tuck, though, keep the ball in possession. I mean, I talk about that today because of the weather. It's very cold, so you got to get 2 hands on that because the ball's not that grippy in this cold weather.
Once again, McLean punting down the far sideline. Abanqua back, or Marshawn Wright checked that back there. Tried to catch it, but it dribbles out of bounds on him. What a great punt by McLean. Put the Huskies at about the 16-yard line.
Well, at the start of the start of the 4th quarter, McLean was averaging about 40 yards per punt, and Kodaj only about 33. So McLean out-punting Kodaj at this point. But yeah, that's why though, Bill. He's kicking the ball far and he's kicking it high too to give his special teams guys a chance to get down there and make a tackle.
Davis and Tootie watching in Okotoks, Alberta, cheering on Riley Brown. Thank you very much to you guys cheering on Riley and the Huskies. And Darcy Wash as well. Thank you very much, Darcy. Creighton. Sabrin. We haven't seen too much of Dave today. Give him about 5 yards on that carry.
Big pile on by the Mounties. Mounties are just looking to knock this down. Three out is what they want. They got about 4 yards to go before it's a first down. So the Mounties are looking to get the ball back. Coming up in 4.5 minutes, Bill. So time is starting to be an issue here for Mountie Nation.
Dr. Brent Hawks in Toronto. Thank you, Doctor. Cheering on the Mounties. Bill McMillan in Riverview, your old stomping grounds. So hello out there to Bill. Huskies, 2nd and call this 4. Straight ahead. Do the Mounties have a stop? Fans think they do. Looks to me like maybe a first down for the Huskies. Gonna be close. They might have to bring it out. It's a first down for St. Mary's. 4 minutes left. Mounties desperate.
Yeah, Whalen getting up a little slow. Kyle Whalen, a big lineman for the Huskies. He's a big part of that middle core for the Huskies, so he would be a loss at this point, but he did get up and he's ready to go. That's one thing about this Huskies O-line. They do protect the middle very well. And, of course, with Abanqua and Sabern and Dawes running the ball, they have to be tough. But they are very good with their quarterbacks. There's no doubt about that.
Creighton, 1st and 10. Sabrin, space on the near side. Falls forward as he always seems to do, but for about 6 yards, give a 2nd and 6 here, or 2nd and 4 now for St. Mary's. Lloyd Henderson, thank you very much, Lloyd, checking in. Lloyd from Yellowknife, Northwest Territories. He is a Mount A grad. His wife, Marg, is a SMU grad.
Uh-oh.
So that's great stuff. Lloyd and Marg wearing different jerseys and watching there in Yellowknife.
Well, of course, Ray Perkin, a big part of the Mounties, team, equipment team, goes to Acadia, so he had kind of mixed emotions last week. I said that on air, and a few people took offense to it, but I mean, he goes to Acadia for school, and he's been basically the equipment manager for the Mounties for years. So Ray actually bleeds Mountie for sure, I was told. So I don't need any tweets or any emails. I know Ray. I've talked to Ray, and he's certainly a Mountie through and through.
Aunt Barbara watching in Pembroke, Ontario. Thank you, Aunt Barbara. And we're running out of time, so if I can't read out your emails and tweets, I apologize, but we are coming down the stretch here. 3 minutes left. Chase Codes will be back to punt. The Mounties are going to get it back. Bohan back to return, along with, looks like Blanchard.
It's probably Blanchard.
Yep. Huskies need a big boot from Codes, no pressure.
Beautiful punt, beautiful.
Blanchard, lots of space, near sideline. Comes into room, does Blanchard! Down the near sideline, Codes rubs him out at the 30. The Mounties in business.
Well, that's just the case of St. Mary's blowing the coverage. They didn't get downfield quick enough. And I know they were all in the middle of the field. I used to run on the outside, and all my coach used to tell me was, make sure a guy doesn't get around you. So somebody was missing there on that outside coverage. If he was blocked, that's fine. There should be somebody else filling in. And the fact that somebody didn't hit him until about the 35-yard line, that's just good blocking on the Mountie side. You can't take that away from them.
1st and 10, stepping into it is Lee. He has a man down there, one-on-one coverage. It is a touchdown for the Mounties. Josh Blanchard.
Well, a bit of a Hail Mary there by Brandon Lay. I was just about to say, Brandon, in my mind, I'm watching the play and I'm thinking, Brandon Lay has got to step up and take that. He had 20 yards to run easily, would have got the first down for sure, but he obviously saw something that I didn't see, and he saw his receiver deep, and he saw that he had a couple of feet on him. So Brandon Lay obviously making the right decision right there. He had a couple of options, but he, you know what? He said, I'm going to take the one that's going to go for the throat, and it worked out for him. And a really good effort by the DB for the Huskies, but just a better effort by the Mounties receiver.
A miracle play for Mountie pride. And these Mountie fans who have filled half the stadium are fired up. Meanwhile, there's a Husky down on the field here at about the 35-yard line. We'll try to get his number for you. But the Mounties, Brandon Lay and Josh Blanchard, that was just old school football, one-on-one, just throw it up and let Blanchard go to work.
Well, I know the intention of it, and often at this level too, sometimes the guys try a little bit too hard to get the ball downfield. Now, I've said this about Brandon Lay before. He has a strong arm. Not necessarily on those lollipop throws, those ones that have got to be deep, and they've got to be accurate, and they've got to get there quicker than a DB. But that was a case where, you know what, they worked the advantage of the DB having his back to the play, and it worked out well as Blanchard picks up the ball. But if there was anybody in this league that could make that throw with a little bit of zip on it, it's Brandon Lay, because he's proven to me this year that he probably has the best arm in the league.
All right. Well, it's Golding who is injured. He's up. It looks like he's okay. Peter Clendenegg, thank you very much. Kim Simich, thank you. Neil Grant. Carolina Andrade, the former rugby player at Mount Allison. And Greg Bonnell, thank you, Greg, along with Carl Seafoot, the former Husky.
Well, Huskies fans, keep yourself up in this because there's 2:24 left on the clock. You're up by a point for now as Kyle McLean kicks it through. So there's plenty of time, and Mountie, obviously, you're all tied up here. So plenty of time left on the clock. This is far from over. And if there's anything we've learned from football games, this is going to be about a 15 minutes for 2 minutes and 24 seconds on the clock. This is going to be a long time. So don't hold your breath, whatever you do.
As night falls in Halifax, the South End, it is a classic. 2:25 left in your Loney Bowl. This battle for the Jewett Trophy. The Mounties trying to win their first one since the days of Eric Lapointe. The Huskies looking to reestablish themselves as the big dogs in the conference after 2 years of Acadia dominance. Half the stands, it's like those games you see in the States where the stands are split right down the middle by color. Half the stands is the Huskies, chock full. Half the stands is Mount Allison, chock full.
As a lady right in front of us here is coming in with scarves, and I bet she's got about 25 of them in her hand from Mount Allison. It's chilly.
A Bagua was about one step away from open real estate, but gets brought down.
So if this does go to overtime, Bill, you're going to have to explain the rules because it's not necessarily the same in every league. So that very well could happen with 2:18 left on the clock.
.218 left as the Mounties are really starting to pick it up here. The fans are on their feet. Jack Creighton and the Huskies from the 45. Creighton brought down at the 40.
Jack Creighton's just got to throw that ball away. I know that he was trying to get through the hole. He just doesn't have the feet to do it, so he's got to throw that ball away. You don't see that a lot in this league, and I really don't understand it why. Maybe it's the panic of the situation or the experience or whatever, but you got to throw that ball away. There was a couple of receivers in the zone over here in his vision, and he could have put it to their feet. But you lose 3 yards. I mean, I guess it's not a big deal, but you know what? Every yard counts in football. It's an old cliche, but it's true.
2nd and 12. Mounties fans on their feet. Creighton with Sabarin to his left-hand side. 2 receivers on the near side, 3 on the far side. Creighton over the middle, intercepted by the Mounties. Space on the far side on the return. The Mounties have the ball, and it's Nguyen. So Nguyen.
Well, that's a simple case of Jack Creighton trying to do too much. Nguyen just steps up, makes a simple catch. It looked like it was thrown to him, and I don't think he cared if he took it back for a pick 6 or not. He got it back a few yards. It's all about clock time now. 1:46 on the clock, so the Mounties are just happy to take the downs and try and kill this clock off. So we're at 20-second play clock, just to let you know. So here we go.
1st and 10 from the 45. Bullet on the far side to Joseph, and he's going to go 8 yards. Call this maybe 2nd and 1, actually, for the Mounties.
Well, you're looking at about... For a field goal attempt by Coach, I think you're probably looking at about a 20-25. Today, I don't know if a 30-yard was going to do it. The wind has actually picked up a little bit, Bill. The flags are pushing right into the middle of the field, so I think they're going to look to at least get to the 20 or maybe a little bit deeper.
Here's your huge 2nd and 1. Straight ahead for the workhorse, Botel from Prince George. Give him 4 yards and a 1st down. Mark him at the 25-yard line.
So what are you going to do, right? You're going to give it to your guy that's gutting you here, and that's Botel. There's no doubt in my mind that the reason this team is here offensively is Botel. He makes everybody miss. He's been the workhorse, and he's why Brandon Lay is able to hit Joseph and Trentham and those guys with passes because everybody watches Botel, and of course he gets the 1st down for them to move the chains.
Joseph on the near side, isolated. Botel 3 yards behind. Brandon Lay. What a calm presence he is. Only the 2nd-year player at quarterback. Botel. About 4 yards. There is 1 minute remaining.
Good job by the Huskies D right there. The D-line pushed left, and the linebacker stepped on the right-hand side because all the flow was going right, and Botel came back left. Excellent job there by this linebacking core from the Huskies, led by Jubenville, of course. But that was a big down right there, and they're at about the 22-yard line as the little guy runs out onto the field with the water. Not a very big guy.
All right, the 2013 Subway AUS Loney Bowl, presented by Wilson Home Heating on AUSTV.ca. Presented by Budweiser, powered by Bella Liant. Bill McLean, Steve Betts with you, along with Amita Vora, an outstanding pregame guest. You can follow Amita on Canada Football Chat. Brian Fisher is our producer. Reza Lalani with us on the sidelines, the fifth-year senior of the Dalhousie Tigers women's volleyball team. She's back at Dowplex, getting ready to play the Cape Breton Capers. Mounties fans are on their feet. They smell the first AUS championship since 1997. Danny Fillmore, William McIntyre, Steve Smith, Nick Calderhead, Christian Stringer. Thank you so much, all you guys checking in with us on the email, along with Jamie Nicholson. Great to hear from you as well. It's been a year of disappointing football games, but they've saved the best for the last, to say the least. At the 20-yard line, Betsy, we've done St. Mary's games, Acadia games, been watching the league all year, and it's been a kind of a lack of excitement from game to game, but man, oh man.
Well,
did they save it for this one? Holy cow.
I'll say it a little differently. There has been excitement, but just not for the whole game. And most certainly, this one is very even. We knew that kind of coming into this, that these two teams were going to be even. And we talked about the Mountie Pride going to be here, and Huskies were going to have their hands full. I mean, I know they're the home team and all, and it had to be favorited, actually. But I knew it was going to be a concern for Coach Marchese to keep his guys in check if there was going to be a lot of Mountie people here. So it's kind of what I expected, and I'm glad that it is, because it's been an entertaining game. And you know what? It's been a skilled game, too. We've seen a little bit of everything, and all the players from each team have stepped up. So, I mean, you know what? You couldn't have asked for anything more, really.
All checking in here on the Twitter. "14 seconds left."
So McLean's got about a 25-yarder. Yeah. Is that what it is? Yeah, that's what it is, Bill.
All right, well, here's your Loney Bowl. Mounties fans are on their feet.
No, not entirely. We've seen some onside kicks that have worked. Mount A did it last week, actually. Got possession of the ball, so Huskies could do that as well. That's assuming he hits it.
McLean nearly blocked. It's through with 52 seconds left. The field goal is good. The Mounties lead 20-17.
So we're going to see what special teams for the Huskies do. As Coach Marchese is kind of walking around on the field to see what's happening with the referee. They're going to take the ball, no kickoff, so the offense for the Huskies are going to come out onto the field and work from the 35-yard line. So no kick.
52 seconds left. A 3-point lead for Mount Allison.
So here you go.
Mounties fans, I think, are probably going to storm the field if they win this thing. Creighton, the near side. Simic shakes off one defender, and then down close to a first down is Simic at the 45.
If they mark that ball where it landed, that's probably going to make it for a first down. It wouldn't surprise me if they bring the sticks out. But the referee he indicated, yeah, first down. He indicated kind of a weak first down there. I was watching him. But nonetheless, first down it is.
46 seconds left. Will the Mounties send off Huskies Stadium by marching the field? Creighton on the near side. First down for Jack. Mark him at the 50.
And Saunders for the Mounties took a big hit, and he's moving at least, so that's a good sign. But Jack Creighton not giving up and getting his feet moving, and the reason he was able to get that is because he took off immediately. He didn't hesitate. He didn't have to control the ball. He just ran, and he ran into an open space, so that's why he was able to get to where he was. He did not hesitate, and that's what was key right there for Creighton, because he's not the most fleet of foot, but that was a great play to move the chains. A never say die attitude right there.
There's no wind. Chase Codez is warming up for the sideline. Figure you got to probably get him at least within 40 yards to have a chance. Creighton. That pass is low for Simic. Second down.
Not the worst pass right there. I know it wasn't connection, and I know he didn't get any yards out of it, but to be honest with you, Simic was behind a defender for the Mounties who, you know, that had to be a perfect pass, let's put it that way. So, you know, you could consider that a throwaway. So if that was, good job by Jack Creighton, a very smart play, because nothing was doing there, and he couldn't run out of the pocket.
Chance of defense from Mounties fans. It feels like we're at Macaulay right now. To our left-hand side, 30 seconds, Creighton. Too far for Simic again. Third down for the Huskies.
Yeah, Simic has to make that catch. You see him dancing around. He has to make that catch, there's no doubt in my mind. Creighton actually threw that quite well.
Steve Betts will have your post-game interviews. We're gonna have to, we may have to work our way through a sea of garnet and gold.
I'll see what I can find.
Will that be the last image of Husky Stadium, a sea of garnet and gold?
I might just have to pick a fan, Bill, at this point. Someone on the outsides.
3rd and 10. Jack Creighton from midfield. Gets it off. Incomplete to Simic. It is incomplete. 20 seconds left, and the Huskies turn it over on downs.
Well, great effort by Jack Creighton to try and get out of the pocket and made something happen. It just didn't quite work out. He couldn't find any receivers that came back to the ball. And of course, you got to wait and see. If you're a receiver, you got to run your route. You can't leave Creighton out hanging. So that has to be completed. And then you try and get back to the ball. And most of them are on the opposite side of the field. So a broken play again, but a great effort by Creighton right there to try and make something, you know, to get at least in a first down and maybe a field goal by the Huskies.
The Mount Allison Mounties are in victory formation with 20 seconds left. They started the year 1-4. They defeated St. X for the 3rd time of 3 games. X beat them twice. Then they came in here and beat the Huskies for the first time since 1997. Then they beat the defending champs Acadia twice. And now they are sending out Husky Stadium with a Loney Bowl.
Well, they got to be careful right here as the clock runs down. But yeah, okay, they waited long enough.
The Mount Allison Mounties are 2013 AUS football champions.
Well, Bill, I'm going to grab the mic, see what we can find out there. Thanks, it's been a blast, and might see you together in the booth for the UTEC Bowl up in New Brunswick. Who knows? Let's try it. Let's see what happens.
Steve Betts, an outstanding job all season long. He's going down. I'm going to actually go down there with you too, Steve, here in a few minutes. We'll try to grab as many people as we can for your post-game interviews. Drew DeMokas down there with camera will be waiting for us. So stick around. Don't go anywhere. Your interviews with your Mounties coming right up with me and Steve. Friends, thank you so much for all the tweets and emails. Live and interactive here from Husky Stadium on AUS TV. Presented by Budweiser, powered by Bell Alliant. The Mount Allison Mounties, for the first time in nearly 2 decades, are AUS champions. And they did it with hard work and teamwork and a whole bunch of Mountie pride. All right. Give us a couple of minutes, and we're going to be down here on the sidelines with your interviews. Bill McLean, Steve Betts, Brian Fisher, Drew DeMokas, Ray Zittilani, all coming here from the stadium. We'll talk to you in a couple seconds.